Hey everyone, I got a request from a subscriber to go over my arsenal that I use for kayak fishing, whether it being inshore or offshore. So I thought I'd make a little video. So let's start with inshore, what I use for fishing trouts and reds in the grass, in the potholes, the flat areas of the bay. Now remember, with that, all you need is castability and distance. So what I use, start off with the first one, I use my Stratic CI 3000 CI4 on a G Loomis medium light EX6 model. I use it for top water. I use it to throw soft plastics. This is the lighter rod of the other one I use, Stratic CI4 3000 on a G Loomis Pro Green, which is a medium action. This is the 5/8 to 5/16 ounce rod. This is what I throw with a heavier lure. If I'm working lures that are heavier, soft plastics or hard bait like the Miradines. And I pair it, I use 10-pound braid on both. You don't need anything heavier than 10 pounds, I think. On average, a redfish, 27-inch, is roughly 7.5 pounds. So you don't need heavier line for this one. So anything over 10, 12 pounds is probably a little too much for me, because in our area there is no oyster beds, so you don't have to worry about the abrasion, the line cutting off. So recommend with just 10 pounds. 10 pounds is good enough if you're just fishing grass flats, potholes. And I pair it with either the 15-pound fluorocarbon or the 20-pound fluorocarbon. It doesn't matter which brand. There is a big debate on fluorocarbon or mono. I just choose fluorocarbon mainly because it's invisible in the water. And the reason why I use fluorocarbon is because of not only because it's invisible, but also the presentation of your lures. I use artificial a lot. The presentation of the artificial lures has to be presentable, whether it being wounded or just a regular bait, instead of worrying about the line showing to the fish or redfish. I do not want to spook a trout or a red, or not lose a red or trout due to the fact that they see the line. So that's why I choose fluorocarbon. 15 pounds, 20 pounds, it's good enough for flat fishing. You don't need anything heavier than that. Maybe 20 pounds is actually too heavy. But let's talk about what I use for bull reds, or against the pylons, the docks. I tend to go a little bit heavier on those. Alright, what I use for dock fishing, or fishing the jetties, or fishing under the bridge for bull reds. I'd start off with my Stratic CI4 4000 with 20-pound braid, or my St. Croix Avid Inshore medium heavy rod. I need a little bit more beef to pull them out of the pylons, or make sure they don't pull me into the dock or break off. So I use a little bit more heavier line. Or I use my Penn Battle 3000 with 20-pound braid. Well, actually this is probably 30-pound braid. This is the combo that sells at Walmart or any department store. Now if I had to pick one rod or reel that I would use most of the time for beginners, or even just starting off into kayak fishing, I would pick this, because you can use it for grass flats, but also use it for heavier fish like the bull reds. And I use typically 30-pound fluorocarbon or 30-pound braid. I like to have a little bit more power, more drag, or heavier line, so I could pull them out of the pylons and have a little more abrasion. But let's talk about offshore fishing, what I use for trolling or bottom fishing off the kayak. Alright, let's talk about offshore fishing for trolling, for kingfish, Spanish mackerel, tuna, or anything that's pelagic, mahi. The main two I use is either my truth reel, the SG model, on a G Loomis Pro Blue with 12-pound mono. The reason why I like mono is because it has more stretch to it, so when you get the big hit from the pelagic fish, it'll run. But I also have braid backing. I have a lot of braid backing with just mono top shot. So think about that. So if I get into a big sailfish, it'll run, but at least I have extra line from the braid backing. The other one I use is probably my Stratic CI 5000 on 30-pound braid, paired with the Shimano Torres rod, medium heavy. I troll with this, but also use this when I see live bait busting, or I'll throw a lure at it to see if I catch into a mahi or anything like that. And last but not least, I use my Shimano Saragossa 6000. This is on the heavier end, only because I use it for bottom fishing too, for snapper or triggerfish or white snapper, beeliners, anything close to a wreck that I have offshore. And I also, same thing with the truth reel, I have braid backing with mono top shot, and I troll with this too. I like to troll with mono because not only it stretches, but also when you have two lines out and you catch into one fish and you twist it with braid, it is not fun offshore when you're trying to untangle braid. So if you can, try to troll with either braid and mono, or just both mono, so it makes it easier. So when you get a strike and you turn around and try to reel it in, you don't get tangled with your other line. But that is my offshore arsenal that I use for fishing, kayak fishing, offshore, inshore. If you have any questions, comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I hope I see you next time in the next episode.